Morning. Well, it's a little scary, isn't it? I'm going to keep my comments this morning short, sweet, simple, very simple, and mostly true. I was watching television recently, History Channel, I believe it was, and I was watching a show about the history of the Eagles, the rock band, the Eagles. If you've heard of them, they're a very popular group, still very popular. And they were interviewing one of the lead guitarists, a fellow by the name of Joe Walsh. And Joe's quite the hoot, if you know anything about him. And they were interviewing him, and he said this, and this caught my ear, and I wanted to read it to you, and then comment about it a little bit. Joe said, "You know, there's a philosopher who says, as you live your life, it appears to be anarchy and chaos, and random events, and non-related events smashing into each other, and causing this situation, or that situation, and then this happens, and it's overwhelming, and it just looks like what in the world is going on? And later, when you look back at it, it looks like a finely crafted novel. But at the time," Joe said, "it don't." And I went, hey, that's what happened to me in my life. That's what happened to me. Things smashing into my life. And then I thought, hey, that's what happens to everybody. And then I thought, you know, I think that's what's supposed to happen. Okay? It's supposed to be that way. I'm going to refer to it as the pinball machine of life. Okay, you all familiar with the old pinball machine? You put the quarter in and you do the thing and it goes around and it makes noise and flashes and there's the flippers. You all familiar with that? That's what life is, you see. We're in that, and we're going to be in that for the rest of our lives. Now, you're aware that you're in that at different levels, at different points in your life. I imagine the freshmen were probably very aware of that pinball effect this fall. They come to a new building, new teachers, new friends, new situation. And seniors, wait until next year when you get on that campus and feel yourself bouncing around in an arcade game. Okay? It can be pretty daunting and it can be pretty scary. So I've got a couple of tips for you today. And these aren't tips about academics. I know this is an academic convocation. That's what we're here for. But I'm going to be a little broader with my comments if you'll indulge me. Tip number one, please embrace that pinball machine of life. Okay, don't be afraid to hop in there and get in there and take the right turns and take the left turns. If there hadn't been a couple of hard lefts, I wouldn't be standing here today. That's a different story for a different day, but I wouldn't be standing here. So it's okay for that to happen. Okay, embrace it. Okay, it's your destiny. It will define you. There was a Chinese philosopher. I hope I pronounce his name correctly. Lao Tzu, 6th century BC. And he said this: if you never change direction in life, you may end up where you're headed. Ponder that. That's pretty deep right there. If you never change direction in life, you may end up where you're headed. And to that I say, boy, wouldn't that be boring? Okay? Now, tip number two for you. When you enter that pinball machine of life, and remember, like Joe Walsh says, you're writing your novel, right? That finely crafted novel is going to pop out the other end. You don't recognize it. But while you're in there, you need to always carry three things with you. Okay? And when I say carry them with you, I mean carry them in your heart. You don't carry it in your pocket. And I'm going to refer to these as the 3 F's. And of course, I realized too late that that's not a good acronym to be using during an academic convocation. But that's what it is, the 3 F's. The first F is faith. Okay, when you're knocking around in there, faith. You got to carry your faith with you. Faith in your ability, faith in yourself, but above all, faith in your God. You got to carry that with you in your heart. Because if you think about it, who do you think has his hands on the flippers? Okay, that's deep too, way back. The second F is family. Carry them right here. Even if you can't physically be with them, carry them here. They're the ones that love you the most. I know that's hard for some of you to realize when you've had that huge fight at home. Father of 3 daughters, I can relate to that. But they're the ones that love you the most. They're the ones that are going to keep you balanced. They're the ones that are going to hold your feet on the ground and hold you steady while you're reaching for the stars. Okay? So always carry them with you. Again, they're the ones that love you the most. And the third F is your friends. You have to have friends. You can't exist without friends. We know here at good old St. Stephen's St. Agnes School that the reason you come here is to be with your friends. Yeah, that's your main reason for coming to school. I would like to think that the reason you come to school is so that you can rush up to room 206 and hear me talk about how if the altitude is drawn to the hypotenuse of the right triangle, then either leg is the geometric mean between the whole hypotenuse and the segment of the hypotenuse adjacent to that leg, or that the Pythagorean theorem is the single most famous utterance in the history of science, or maybe for a little bit of SOHCAHTOA. As a matter of fact, can I hear a little SOHCAHTOA from you? Okay, that's sort of weak. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm fond of saying that the friends that you make in your freshman year of college are going to be probably your closest friends for life, but I think probably that's wrong. I've been around this community enough to know that I think the people you are sitting with right now are going to be your friends for life. Okay? And again, whether you can be physically with them, you want to carry them with you wherever you go. Okay? That's important. So you got your faith, you got your family, you got your friends. Do you know the television show 60 Minutes? You heard of that? It's been on forever. There used to be a guy on the show by the name of Andy Rooney. And Andy Rooney said this: no matter how serious your life requires you to be, you need to have a friend or two that you can sit around in a room and act goofy with. And boy, isn't that the truth. That's the absolute truth. Don't ever forget that. If you forget everything else I've said, don't forget that. Okay? It's like a pressure valve situation, right? Okay, you got to keep yourself sane and keep yourself balanced. And one way you can do that is through your friends. Now, speaking of pressure valve, and this is the last tip from your Uncle Doug today. Your last tip is this. When you're on that journey from innocence to experience, you need to find some kind of a diversion or avocation or hobby above what you do, above what your job is, that you can be passionate about. Now, you certainly want to be passionate about your work, you want to be passionate about your grades, you want to be passionate about the 3 Fs, but you need to find something that you can be passionate about over and above that. For me, it was my music. Still is my music. I don't know how my life would have been different if I hadn't had those 5 guys for 30 years to play music with. For Mr. Wyman, it's his magic. You ever seen him do the magic? Dr. J's got her yoga. Everybody's got some kind of a passion. As a matter of fact, seniors, here's an assignment for you. Before you leave here, go up to one of your teachers, or maybe go up to all of them, and ask them, what's your passion? You might be interested in what you hear. I'm sure they'll tell you. And it doesn't have to be elaborate. It can be something as simple as, I like to go bowling. Or I like to write poetry. Or I like to work a yo-yo. It doesn't matter. Something that you can be good at, something that you can be passionate about. It's important that you have that. My wife has a trivet hanging in the kitchen. And I'm going to apologize up front because this is very corny, but it's very true. But it's been there forever. It's got cobwebs on it and everything. But the trivet says this: never get too busy making a living that you forget to make a life. Okay? Never get too busy making a living that you forget to make a life. That's extremely important. So quick recap here. Jump into that pinball machine of life. Write your novel. Carry the 3 Fs with you. Okay? Find a diversion, something to keep you sane, something to keep you balanced, something to keep you whole. Now my book, the St. Stephen's St. Agnes portion of it anyway, is just about ready. And looking back on it, chaos and anarchy, for sure. Okay? Left turns and right turns. The archivist asked me the other day, why did you choose independent schools over public schools? Because I started teaching in public schools. I said, dumb luck. I was in the right place at the right time, took a couple of those turns, and here I am. But when I look back on my book, I'm very proud of what's there. It's got a beginning and a middle. It's got some plots and subplots, no pictures, but you can't have everything. But it does look like that finely crafted novel. It has been my honor and privilege to have been a part of this community for 39 years. And it's been my honor and privilege to work with you students, and students just like you, thousands of them, for all these years. You have kept me energized, you have kept me on my toes, and you have kept me young. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. I want to congratulate everybody this morning who makes Dean's List or Heads List. I also want to congratulate the people who don't make Heads and Dean's List, because we know you're working the hardest you can do, and that's all we can ask for you, that you do your absolute best. I want to wish you the best of luck in all your endeavors, especially seniors next year when you go through that chaos and anarchy and hop in there. It's going to be fun. Trust me, believe me, it's going to be fun. And I want to leave you with the words of a song that was written back in 1973 by Dolly Parton and performed so beautifully by Whitney Houston. Just a little snippet of it. The words go like this. I hope life treats you kind. I hope you have all that you've dreamed of. I wish you joy and happiness, but above all this, I wish you love. God bless you. Thank you for